This episode is brought to you in part by Pittsburgh Seminary's Henderson Leadership Conference, September 22nd to 24th, with Dr. Diana Butler Bass. Attend in person or online for lectures and workshops with strategies for ministry amid political and theological divisions. Visit www.pts.edu/Henderson.
We're continuing our little series on Constantine, and he's going to help answer the question, how did we settle on the day for Easter? Now, maybe you've noticed it changes every year. Christmas is always on December 25th, New Year's is on January 1st, and Independence Day is on, well, you know. So why does Easter float around? This was all decided at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, which was called by the Emperor Constantine. You're listening to the show that uses journalistic tools to look inside the Christian church. We've pressed pause on the culture wars to see how we got here and how we can do better. I'm Chris Starin. This is Truce. This episode is brought to you by No Small Endeavor, the acclaimed podcast from Great Feeling Studios and PRX. In each episode, host and award-winning theologian Lee C. Camp sits down with courageous and impassioned people, like Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and civil rights hero Reverend James Lawson, talking about what it means to find true happiness and flourish in day-to-day life. And if you're looking for somewhere to start, why not check out the recent episode with award-winning journalist and best-selling author Tim Alberta on Christian nationalism's role in the Republican Party. Follow No Small Endeavor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Here's what we know from the start. In the Bible, Jesus enters Jerusalem during the week of Passover. Passover is a Jewish celebration, remembering the story of Moses and the Exodus. The people of Israel are being held captive by the Egyptians. So, to free the people, God sends a lot of nasty plagues on Egypt. One of those is an angel who swept through Egypt to kill the firstborn in each family, unless the family put the blood of a lamb above the door. Then the angel would, wait for it, pass over the household, hence the name Passover. Jewish people celebrate this holiday every year according to the Hebrew calendar, eating special food, reading the story, and coming together as a family. Year after year after year. Right up until the time of Jesus. Jesus enters Jerusalem on a donkey right as Passover is kicking off, in the very center of the celebration. It's the difference between watching the ball drop on New Year's Eve at home versus being in Times Square in New York. He's at the center of the Passover party. But by the end of the week, he's wrongfully accused, nailed to a cross, and resurrected. So, one line of thought is, why not celebrate Easter the same week as Passover every year? I mean, seems like a natural choice, right? Well, it's not that easy. The date of Passover is set each year according to the Hebrew calendar, which, by the way, does not line up with ours, the Gregorian calendar, or for that matter, the Roman calendar of Constantine's time. So let's say that we chose March 22nd as the day we're going to celebrate Easter every year. This year, it might coincide with Passover, which is great, except next year it won't, because the Hebrew calendar doesn't line up with ours. It's about 19 days off each year, which is compensated for by adding an additional month every 3 years. So it falls behind for 3 years and then catches up. If Easter is on March 22nd this year to line up with Passover, when we all sit down together next year on March 22nd, it won't be Passover. So the job of the people at the Council of Nicaea was to decide how to make up for this 19-day discrepancy. They could always just say, float Easter around with Passover. We figure out when the Passover is, add a few days to get to the resurrection, and voila! Except that wouldn't work either, because the council members wanted Easter to occur on a Sunday every year. And I'm getting tired of saying this, but the two calendars didn't line up. This year, Easter would be on a Sunday, and next year it could be on a Tuesday. A Tuesday. And nobody wants to celebrate Easter on a Tuesday. Not to mention they wanted it to line up with a Christian day of rest. Okay, so scrap the idea of the floating Passover. And they couldn't just say it'd be on March 22nd every year because next March 22nd would maybe be on a Wednesday. They needed a better plan. They decided to tie it to a Sunday, but it would be the first Sunday, stay with me, the first Sunday after the first full moon of spring. I'll say it again, the first Sunday after the first full moon of spring. What could be simpler? Really, so many other things are simpler. But they had their Sunday and they had their floating date, which is why as you walk up to your wall calendar at work, let's say a calendar of kittens in a basket or dogs dressed in different occupations, you may just see that Easter is not the same week as Passover. And now you can explain to your friends why that is, and tell them all about Constantine and the Council of Nicaea from 325 AD. Truce is a listener-supported podcast. You can find links to our Patreon account, or you can set up regular donations at trucepodcast.com. Once there, you can find links to our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook accounts, sign up for our unobtrusive and informative email updates, see pictures and links, and learn about my novel Cradle Robber, and my movies Bringing Out Bobby and Between the Walls, both of which are streaming on Amazon Prime. Head to iTunes and leave us a positive review, and please tell your friends. If you support intelligent discussions and quality journalism, let the world know. Thanks for listening. I'm Chris Starin. This is Truce. Hey folks, before we go, there's one more thing. I did an ad swap with a homeschool podcast, and so their ad's going to be playing in just a moment, and they're going to be playing one for the Truce podcast on their show. So here you go.
Do you believe in homeschooling? Here's your chance to help spread the word that homeschooling is good for students, it's good for families, it's good for America. Go to schoolhouserocked.com/Kickstarter and join the movement to spread the word about homeschooling through movie theaters nationwide. From September 10th until October 12th, you have the opportunity to partner with us and show the world what homeschooling is all about. Visit schoolhouserocked.com/Kickstarter today.